be able to say one or two words to the voluntary helpers and instructors. Of course, if I get very enthusiastic about the subject, then I always see that my wife has a pin that she can stick into my leg so that I don't go on indefinitely. But if I'm not quite so sure about the subject, well, then I can always get up and sit down again, and that's that. In any case, I always remember in my own mind that a whale only gets harpooned when it comes up to spout, so that I can in any case be shot at while I stand on my feet. Now, what is it that the voluntary helpers and the instructors have been able to do for this club? Well, Mr. Goodyear would be one of the first ones to express his view of the work that is done by them. For this reason, that if it were not for the great help in every possible direction that they give to him as the redoubtable leader of this club, then he could not function or do a fraction of the work that he does so well here, and the boys themselves would not be able to enjoy the club half as much or get half as much benefit from it. So that I would say to the voluntary helpers and the instructors how grateful we are to all of them. There are over 40, and I should imagine that there are very few clubs, if any, in the country who have more voluntary helpers, or in any case who have such devoted helpers who give so gladly and happily and cheerily of their services and their expert knowledge to the boys who are so glad to place themselves really at their disposal for training purposes. You have only to look at the success that has attended the different portions of the work in this club to estimate and to assess the value of the work which the voluntary helpers and instructors do. And those of us who keep, shall I say, a fatherly eye on the activities of the club as a whole are very delighted to find the high standard of work which is produced under the control and guidance of these voluntary helpers by the boys of the club, whom I also congratulate, because what is the good of instructors and helpers if the boys themselves don't learn and don't benefit and don't come up to a higher standard because of the work which is expended on their behalf? So I do congratulate and thank heartily the voluntary helpers and instructors who I think have recently received a letter of thanks directly from the management committee, but I think that it is only right that on this very happy occasion we should also express publicly to them all our deep appreciation of their efforts. You know, they can't take any shortcuts. They have to deal with the opportunity given to them, but they can't just get to the end of their journey as quickly as they might like. They have to be very explicit in explanation, they have to be very careful in guiding, and they have to go along through the whole gamut of the special activity with which they're dealing in the interest of the boys themselves. Quite recently I heard the Dean of Ripon saying that it is really in connection with an invitation that was being extended to some disabled soldiers to go and visit him next summer, and he was saying, come into the grounds, don't go into a field, and so on. Then he said, beyond the field I'm talking about is another field which belongs to a farmer. And one day there was a man coming across there in a great hurry, and the farmer stopped him and said, what are you doing here? You're trespassing. He said, can I get to the station? I've got to catch the 6:15 train. Can I go this way? And the farmer said, yes, you can, but if you go through that other field there's a bull in it, and you'll not only catch the 6:15, but you'll be in time for the 5:45. Now that was certainly taking a shorter cut, but that is not possible for the helpers who are here. and they have to go right through with their job from beginning to end. But the club is all the happier and the harder worked, if you like, because it's a good thing when we are young that we should be kept properly at things. And so, on behalf of all who are associated with the club, whether they are fully represented here or not tonight, and I mean the parents of the boys as well, in particular, and on behalf of the boys of the club, I would express great thanks to all the voluntary helpers and instructors for everything they do for the Hunslet Boys Club.
I now call upon Mr. Roy Gamage, an old boy of the club, and now a BB officer, to reply.
Ladies, gentlemen and boys, thank you for those kind and encouraging words. I would like to thank the boys also for inviting us all here tonight to their own Christmas party. You know, it's times like these that give us voluntary helpers the spirit and the push to carry on throughout the years doing what we all are striving to do, to better this club, to give you lads a better chance in life. As most of you will know, I am not speaking from my own experience, but from that of the older people, most of whom were voluntary helpers when I was a lad, like yourself. It is only since I came back from the forces that I realise in full exactly what they do. The only reward they ask is that you take notice of what they teach you, or what they are trying to get you to do. It will help you all through your life. It was only this morning one of the lads came to me, before he knew I was going to say these few words. We're going to have to listen to all these long speeches again. So, I thought I'd cut mine a bit short. I would like to say thank you once again, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you.
I now call upon Mr. C. Goodyear to announce the result of Club Week, the house competition, together with the winners of the Smith Trophy and the John Wiley Shield.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen and boys, after that reminder I think I'd better be fairly quick about it, otherwise I might be hearing some more. Anyway, I know you're interested in some of the things I'm going to say, but I'll get down to it straight away and try not to waste any words. The house competition in connection with our recent club week finished up like this, that Wiley House again has got the first 10 points for the house competition. They raised by various means the enormous sum of £40.15 shillings, the highest that ever has been raised by any one house in the past. I won't give you the whole of the houses, but I will tell you this, that by collecting cards this year with the boys and volunteer helpers, we raised £232 off. Really marvellous, you know. And I'm going to say something now that I haven't said before. Quite honestly, I didn't think we should reach our target this year. I'm probably ashamed to say it, but I'm being honest about it. But when one realises, as I do, perhaps more than anyone else, that over 100 boys has left us since last club week, I got a little bit of the jitters that Al was talking about a few months ago when club week was coming. Anyhow, you set the target and you beat it, which proves beyond doubt that those chaps who say that the lads of today aren't as good as those of yesterday are all wrong. It's obvious that they are just as good, and I don't see why in the future we shouldn't make a new high record, because our club this year is as young as it's ever been before. This morning I spent about half an hour going through the records about ages and so on, and you know, with very few boys over 16 years of age in our club at the moment, very few indeed.